Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fearless Fridays, where we discuss strategies, tools, and tips to transform your fear into fuel to unlock your full potential, or rather your true potential. So today we are going to have a little bit different format. Today is going to be viewer's choice. As you see, I do have a guest here, Miss Tonya Maxwell, and she will introduce herself shortly.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. But last week, I received a lot of feedback, lots of feedback from the episode with Dr. Candace White, the lifestyle doc. So as a result of that, Miss Tanya sent a message in with a few other people as well, who were just, one, they were appreciative of the episode. Secondly, they had some additional questions potentially. And then the third thing was they just had other things that they wanted to say about what was happening on the show and with themselves. So today, I'm going to recap really quickly what we talked about last week with regards to health boundaries, because we are still on the series about boundaries. So the definition that we were using last week with health boundaries was that health boundaries are limits individuals set to protect their physical, mental, and emotional well-being. They help establish personal limits, prioritize self-care, and maintain a healthy lifestyle. So Dr. Candace, if you recall, talked about the key phrases that she was going to drop for us, and there were 6 of them. So I'm not going to go over all 6 key phrases, but I am going to reference them again after this video, again, just so you can be reminded of what those phrases were and how you can apply them to your life. But what I found so interesting when Miss Tonya Maxwell reached out is that she said she was so moved by the conversation with Dr. Candace that if it was possible, she would love to be a part of the show because she had something that she really wanted to share with the audience. So from that, what I was going to try to do was take a clip out of Dr. Candace's interview with me. However, that didn't happen, so I haven't gotten that good at it yet, guys, but I'm getting there. However, I'm going to go ahead and turn the mic over, if you will, to Miss Tonya Maxwell. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and then talk about her story. Tonya?
Thank you, Miss Talina, for allowing me to be here on your platform. It is really a pleasure to be here on this evening. And yes, as Talina said, our beautiful host, as she said, last week I was so moved by what Dr. Candace said. And so before I go any further, because I feel myself getting ramped up already, my name is Tonya Maxwell, and I am a transformation empowerment facilitator by way of Triumphator. So hello to all of my friends out there, over there, wherever you may be. And so I wrote down something that was so profound from Dr. Candace last week when she was talking about health boundaries. And that is something that I think when we talk about boundaries, health boundaries is not something that is first to come to our minds. And so that already captivated me when she said that. But these are some of the words that she said. And I'm just paraphrasing. When she talked about health boundaries, is setting the limits, and that's going to help us to be aware of who you are and what you need. And that needs is based off of just what do you need, to help you be successful emotionally, and then limitations. And one thing she said was don't ignore what your body, what my body is telling me.
Yes. And really quickly before you finish, I want to let you finish. Try to, I don't know if you noticed, but your computer is trying to catch your image, so it
yeah.
kind
So
of blurs.
let me
So
still.
kind of stay,
Yes.
kind of stay still.
Let me sit still. Okay. Yes. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I just want to let you know. Go ahead, darling.
Yes. And so when she said not to wait, that was so moving, because a lot of times when we respond, or now we have to react to something, is because we waited. And so, as I said before, I'm a transformation empowerment facilitator by way of Triumphators. And Triumphators is a support group for women and girls. And our focus there, we are a community. And our community, we help women and girls move beyond loss, or move from trauma to triumph. And so, with that being said, there's a lot of traumatic things that happen to us, um, as far as our health. And a lot of times we don't seek the help that we need until we are now having to respond to a situation. Now we may end up in the emergency room, and then that's when hey, something is wrong. But our bodies have been communicating that to us, all along, but we ignore it. As Dr. Candace said,
Listen.
don't ignore. And
So
because,
how?
oh,
Sorry.
yes.
And so with that said,
Hmm.
with regards to your story,
Yes.
what is it about the don't ignore that really compelled you to be on here with us today?
So, what compelled me was the fact that I ignored the symptoms. I ignored the fact, back in, let's say, 2010, I had gone to the doctor, and I was always on it. Every year I was having all of my labs done, my blood work, get my yearly checkup. And I was really, thorough about that, until I went to the doctor, had some blood work done, and I had elevated A1C. And so at that time, my A1C, for those that don't know what that is, that's your glucose level, your blood sugar level. And so that's part of your workup. And Dr. Candace talked about that, getting into the doctor, getting your blood work done, just so that you know where you're at. And I'm just going to recap on what she said. You need to know your numbers. Okay, so I went to the doctor back in 2010, got my blood work done, had an elevated A1C, and I was roughly 200 pounds. So the doctor told me at that time, she said, Ms. Maxwell, you need to lose some weight, and you need to get this glucose down, because if you don't, I'm going to put you on medication. That scared me. Why did it scare me? And I am a nurse. I'm an LPN. I know about diabetes. I know about obesity. I know what you should do and what you should not do. But because I allowed myself not to set health boundaries, I was working, traveling, for work. I ate out 3 times a day. All of my meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, was fast food. I ate on the go. I worked 14 hours some days, 6, 7 weeks at a time, working every single day. So I was putting a lot of stress on my body. And I was running from that doctor because I knew I had not lost any weight. And I knew that probably the way that I had been eating, my A1C was either the same, it hadn't gotten any better, or it was worse.
What did you find out? What was the outcome of that continual bad eating, not taking care of yourself? What was the outcome of that?
So the outcome of that was in 2021. We still trying to heal from the pandemic. I shaved and I got a ingrown hair. And that saved my life. It was that ingrown hair that I was trying to baby and trying to fix and trying to, heal it on my own. I'm a nurse, but I was really sick. I was really, really sick. And I did not know I was sick. I looked good. I felt good. And until things got really bad with that little hair bump that just went onto another tangent. It was infected. I was a petri dish. Let's just put it like that. My body had so much sugar content in it. I was just growing bacteria, And that little hair bump was enough fuel to the fire. And that landed me in the emergency room. And so I had to have, they did what they could do in the emergency room. And then they say, you need to see a surgeon because you may have to have this surgically removed because it had gotten so bad. But I needed to see the doctor. Now, remember I said I had been running from the doctor since 2010. This is 2022. So we can add up all the years that I have
12 years later. Mm-hmm.
Running from this doctor, okay? And not setting those health boundaries that could have cost me my life, okay? So went to the doctor, got the blood work, and I got a phone call that I just couldn't believe what I was hearing on the other side. Like I said, I'm a nurse. I know what your A1 number should be, your A1C number should be. If you're at 5, you're doing good. At 6, they're very concerned. And depending on your provider, your doctor, he may put you on either pills, he may put you on insulin, or he may say, you know what, I'm going to give you a chance. So when I got the blood work, when I got the call, now my A1C was 14.3. Remember I said 5, you're good. Okay. 6, they winking their eye at you like, okay. 7, you on insulin. I was at 14.3. This is how sick I was. No health boundaries. And I'm just going on about my business for years.
But what occurred?
So when I got the call, I just couldn't believe it, but I went into my chart, and it's good if you can set yourself up with your My Chart or whatever system your provider is using so that you can, see where you're at, know your numbers, always be vigilant when it comes to your health. You are your biggest advocate. And I'm telling you, prevention is always better than responding now to a situation. So now here I am, instead of preventing, putting those health boundaries in place, here I'm now reacting and responding to a chronic disease. Mm-hmm. So they immediately put me on medication. I got on pills because she really wanted to work with me. I was working with a nurse practitioner. She said, had I been with the endocrinologist, it would have been straight insulin. So I was taking 2,000 milligrams of metformin. I was taking that every day, and I was taking another pill, glipizide, at night. And I was sick. I'm telling you, that the medication made me sick. But I had to take so much medication because we needed to get those numbers down. Because with diabetes, it's just like sugar is just what's being pumped into your system, just straight sugar, just straight. Your blood is like tar, it's very thick, so you're not getting the proper nutrients. I lost 40 pounds. It was like I lost weight just like that overnight. But my body was almost in a starvation mode. and I lost a lot of my muscle tone and my eyesight. And that, even when I just think about it, it it just brings tears to my eyes, because I know this was something that I created.
So you could have prevented it, but
Yes,
basically, when we talk about health boundaries, and of course that spans the gamut, right? So we talk,
yes,
with health boundaries, it's not just the one thing; it's everything. It's mind, body, spirit. It's all everything that's related to your body being whole, right? So,
yes,
but for you, again, what Dr. Candace said was make sure you find a provider that you can work with, that understands, one that understands you understand and you believe in, and then make sure, like you said, that you know your numbers. But because
yes,
you were running from your doctor, because you had first got a diagnosis that stated that, you needed to lose some weight and you were on the verge of being a full-blown diabetic, you,
mhm,
rather than taking that seriously, you ate out 3 times a day, 5 days a week at minimum, and just didn't take care of yourself until you got sick enough because something else happened. See, and that's what God does,
mhm.
right? See, he's gonna make sure he finds a way to get your attention.
Oh
So if
yes,
if you're not listening to the other people that he puts in your life, right, he's gonna put something else. He'll make sure he gets your attention one way or another. So for you, I would suspect that hair bump that you're referring to was your wake up call. It was the thing that says,
yes,
okay, you can't manage everything. You are currently not in a manageable place nor state, and you don't even know it. So let me make sure that I put you in a place where you gonna find out. So
exactly.
now here it is. Your numbers are at 14 when 7 is where you're on insulin. Your
Hmm.
doctor basically is giving you an opportunity to, like you said, they could put you straight on insulin, or they can try to do some other things to bring the numbers down. So
Hmm.
luckily, that particular doctor that you had been running from all this time was still giving you yet another opportunity to help you heal your body, right? To get your body
Yes,
back into better condition. And now you are dropping weight, losing muscle mass, and now you're going blind. So what
exactly.
happened? So what happened at that point? What brought you back? And before you answer that question, looks like we have what. Let's say hello to Ms. Jeanette Stewart, that's with us. We also have Theresa Offord and Betty Miller Henderson. And Betty's saying that getting to the doctor is extremely important.
Yes.
I was diagnosed with a blood clot in my liver.
Mm.
Had I not paid attention to my body, that clot may never have been detected. So again, these are
Yes.
all things that we have to pay attention to. So,
Yes.
like Dr. Candace said, you got to know your body, and then you
Hmm.
have to listen, right? So when you see or feel something, just because you see it or feel it doesn't mean you dismiss it. That means go find out about it. And again, particularly for our Black men. So go ahead. So tell me now, where are you at this point? You're going blind. What's the next thing that happened?
So when uh when I started losing my sight, it was like I could see shapes, but I couldn't see, I didn't have that clarity. I could be looking at my husband like face to face, and I couldn't see his features. And that was
Terrifying,
life
I'm sure.
changing. I
Yeah.
was terrified. I was terrified. And now I'm having all of these tests. I'm going in to see a specialist to have these diabetic eye tests. It's not just like your regular, eye exam. So now they're using all these different machines. I'm constantly at the doctor's. I mean, they're checking me from head to toe because of where I was at for I don't know how long. I don't know
Yeah.
how long I was I was sick like this. And one thing I wanted to point out when I talked about that A1C, that's what your blood, the condition of your blood cells, what they are for 3 months. So I have been there
At that
for
number.
3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And when you fasting, when you sleep at night, your blood sugar should go down. Well, when I was waking up, my blood sugar, I was in the 400s
Mm.
waking up. I was in the 400s. So that sugar was just, it was stagnant. So here I am, I'm taking all this medication. I'm having all these tests done. What I had to do, I had to see a specialist, a nutritionist, a diabetic nutritionist. So I had to have an appointment with her. And I'm telling you all, I was really afraid of food. I was scared because I didn't know what was safe to eat. I didn't know what I should drink. I was really walking in fear because I'm losing my eyesight. What next is going to happen? Because with diabetes, a person can go blind in a matter of just like that. It's not something that can just, that it may just take its time. No, you can start losing things very quickly. So I'm having all these feet exams and, all of this stuff because they just want to make sure you're good. So I made a promise to God and I made a promise to myself that I was going to do everything in my ability and that I was serious. Now I'm serious because you see what I'm saying? I got to react now. I'm reacting to a situation. And I thank God that situation, my diligence working with my healthcare providers. I had a lot of people on my team that, I had to see, from the nurse practitioner, the doctors, the surgeons, the nutritionist, the specialist. It was some other appointments I had to have done. And so now we're doing this head to toe thing. But I made a promise that I was going to be diligent about my health. And so that meant I had to set some health boundaries. I had to listen to Tonya. I had to get in touch. I had to reorientate myself back to
with yourself.
with myself.
So where are we today?
So today, thank God, I'm off the medication.
Yes.
I'm off all of the medication. I am off all of the medication. So I thank God for that. I'm still eating accordingly. I'm watching my diet. I'm getting my exercise in. I'm not, focusing on that comfort eating because I know that was something that, I did. I ate for comfort. And it's like that with a lot of us in the Western culture. We don't eat necessarily because we're hungry. We go out to eat, because we're going to get with our friends, all of these social events. You have a lot of different foods that are around. And I know that was me. I would be, let me taste this. Let me have this and let me taste that.
Right. Yes. So now we have to pay attention. Miss Catherine, thank you for joining. Catherine says, fantastic. Jeanette Stewart says, whoop, whoop, that you are off that medication. And here's the one we all really love. Miss Theresa Offer said, praise God, because we all know that listen, it takes him, right?
Yes.
Can't do it without him.
Yes.
So that is a very grateful statement. So I'm very proud. I may never have met you had that, that hair bump not taking you to the doctor.
Right.
So yes, very grateful, very, very grateful. So let me ask you another question. That's a I'm sure that there's many, many, many people out there who have similar stories and those that did not listen, still didn't take heed, right? And they may not even be with us today. And for those, my heart goes out to any family member or friend or whomever that may have suffered a loss like that. Because a lot of it's just us really caring for ourselves, but we're so busy, right? Life is lifing, as we say.
Life is lifing.
Life be lifing. So since life be lifing, we forget to really pay attention to what's going on within ourselves. So, and that again, that's not just only health. That's your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? So always really kind of staying connected and understanding kind of where you are. So with that, how has that affected or positively impacted what you're doing in your professional life and business? Because this is sort of the full circle. We know how it affects our family members, right? Those that are closest to us, because they're the ones trying to help us through the process. Through the process. But how has that impacted your business life?
Well, yes. Okay. So it's kind of like a twofold. I wanted to recap on what you said because life be life. And a lot of times, and this is just my view, my picture, when I think about life and life is life and is living intentionally for everybody else.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah.
That life is life and living intentionally for everybody else. And now I'm coming. I've had to do that change. I've had to pivot to where now I'm focusing on my time, triumphantly investing in me, in
Oh, yes.
myself. Because, and I'm getting to your question, because if I don't triumphantly invest in me and I just keep let life living for everybody else, then I really can't show up for what I'm purposed for. And
There
so,
you go.
and what I'm purposed for, because who we are not just what we do. We're not just what we do. We should live with that purpose to be who God created us, what our purpose is. And so, with that being said, coming to this moment of where I'm at in my purpose, triumphantly investing in me, I got connected with my purpose, with that whole reorientation back to myself, because back in December, I woke up, took my blood sugar like I'm supposed to do, and my blood sugar was 23. Okay. Now, 40, you should be in a coma. I was at 23. I should have waken up dead. Honestly, that's true. You can search it. You can ask your doctor. I should have woken up dead. And I'm going around, and I'm getting to your question, but I'm bringing the story full circle. And I'm going around, oh, God is just so amazing. I'm such a miracle. I'm such a miracle, because that's what I'm supposed to do. We're supposed to give God his praises, right? And it was 2 days later that this happened. The Holy Spirit spoke and said, I could have taken you at any moment. I could have taken you at any moment. Do what I have called you to do. Don't waste time, because you don't have time to waste.
Mm. Yeah.
I said, okay,
That's right. Be
okay,
obedient. Yes.
okay. And so that is what launched me and pushed me, propelled me to do what I knew God had been calling me to do for the past 23, 24 years. And so helping women and helping girls navigate through trauma. I'm not a therapist. Triumphators is not we're not therapy, but our program and our community is therapeutic. And so we create that safe space that women can come in and they can share their stories. Just like I'm here, I'm sharing my story. I went through something very traumatic. It was health wise, it was health related, and it affected my whole life. And so that's what we are here to do. We are here to educate. We're here to raise awareness, help women know that you have a voice. You are your best advocate, and your story, it has beauty, your story has power, and your story can help someone else.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I really do hope that if there are any folks that happen to see this on replay, or even if there's someone that's watching now that might be struggling, because I remember I've gone to the doctor even here recently, and they did some blood work, and they even told me, and I know diabetes, I mean, it runs in lots of our families, but I know for sure, for my family, and they said I was pre-diabetic, and I was like, huh, what? whatever, But the thing is, I know how I eat and I understand what I do. So there are things I already know that I can, that I can do because, in talking to the doctor as well to understand how you can, mitigate that situation and not get to the place where you do have, diabetes. So I think it is very important. And I pray, it is my prayer that if there is anyone that's watching and watches the replay even, or someone that's watching that knows someone or whatever the case may be, that they do help them or, talk to them about going and seeing, the doctor to really understand, where they are, what their numbers are, so that they understand what they can do to mitigate that for themselves as well. Right. Yes. So I appreciate that. And it's interesting to understand that process and that you went through help you to birth triumphators. Is that how you say it?
Triumphators. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Help to birth triumphators. So, again, if God is telling you, you better get on it because, he don't play.
That's it. Get on it.
He don't play. If he said, get it done, get it done.
Get it
so
done.
If this is your passion, yes, it's time to definitely move forward. So I appreciate you for tapping in with us. I appreciate you for, just for the viewer's choice for just asking the question, hey, I really have something that I want to share with, the audience or with the world, period, and if this platform is a way for you to do that, then I'm honored to have a platform for you to be able to share that information on. So in recap, last week when we were talking about, these health boundaries, I didn't really mention this, but again, when we talk about the fact that you have to prioritize yourself, which is again what you're saying, right? Triumphators is making sure, we talk about life and how it be life and all the things we do for others and what we don't do for ourselves. So the one thing that is a common theme in boundaries, right? This whole entire boundaries discussion each week, even though they're different topics, there are certain things that are consistent. One of the things that is consistent is rest. The other consistent thing is self-care.
Yes.
And the other one is putting yourself first. So we have to understand that there's a reason for that. All these different boundaries that we're referring to, those are consistent pretty much each week. And whether I choose to talk about them or not, it's like it just comes up. Even when the guest is on, those three things still seem to come up. So we have to make sure that we are getting the proper rest. Rest is so important. There's different types of rest. You gotta make sure you are resting, right? It might be mental rest, physical rest, emotional rest, right? You gotta understand the type of rest that you need. So I encourage you all to make sure you tap in, see what kind of rest you need in this moment, in this time in your life. Secondly, putting yourself first is so important because again, we do a lot for other people. Mm-hmm. And so we have to make sure that we're showing up for ourselves, right? Because if we're not showing up for us, there's no way we're going to be able to show up for someone else, right? I know my mother says that to me all the time. Listen, you can't do for others what if you're not doing something for yourself first. You got to feed you first, right? Like my brother says too, and we all know this, right? So if you're on an airplane and you're losing oxygen, it says put the mask on you first and then help someone else. So you can't help somebody else and then now you don't have no oxygen for yourself. So you got to make sure that you're putting yourself first. And then the other thing is, that self-care piece, whatever self-care looks like for you, make sure you're doing it. If it's just being out in nature, spending time at the beach, taking a walk, hiking, running, spending time with family, whatever your things are. I love the spa and travel. That's my thing. I love a spa. So I can go give me a nice massage and go somewhere nice and have some good food. And I'm like, ooh, that's all about me, right? So, whatever your thing is, go do that. Take some time, right? So you can get some clarity of mind and you can, and that also will allow you to rest. So I'm saying that because I know I'm a workhorse. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a humper. But I'm gonna tell you, like you, that little small hair, that hair bump, for me, I was working, going, and no, something didn't feel right. And I just dismissed it and kept on going. And I felt it again and dismissed it, and my staff is looking and saying, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine. Come on, we got to get it done. Let's go, let's go, let's go." And 2 seconds after that, we call in the ambulance. Didn't know, but I had pneumonia and didn't know it. And I mean, you don't know. So you have to pay attention to what's happening in your body. Those health boundaries are so critical, people. Just remember, if you haven't established any, watch last week's episode with Dr. Candace White. Follow up with this week's episode to understand what happens when you don't pay attention. Establish some healthy health boundaries with your eating. What are you eating? Are you drinking a bunch of sodas, right? We're talking about diabetes here. So pay attention to your body. Know your health history. Know your family history. Because sometimes we don't know that. So just pay attention, because if you're talking about being out here, running businesses, corporations, showing up, living your purpose, you're not going to be able to do that if you are not here, or if you're not healthy or able. So again, I appreciate you for being here. I thank you again for tapping in with me. And for just sharing with me that you really wanted to be on here to talk to the audience and share your story. So
thank you.
There's a quick little quote I popped up. I like to do the quotes. So this one said, "In the dance of health, embracing your physician is a graceful step towards vitality. For in their expert hands, supposedly anyway, lies the power to heal, guide, and illuminate the path to wellness. So stand firm. Make sure you're taking the time to understand what's going on with you." Okay. And again, don't be afraid. Dr. Candace said last week, she might be, we talk about what's considered Western medicine, but a lot of these Western medicine doctors, because you see them in hospitals or facilities, they also still have very holistic approaches. So don't shy away because you think that they're only going to try to, pump you full of pills, but there's a two-way street here. You may need a little of this and a little of that. So don't knock it, right? Get out there, find out what's happening. So, Coach Tonya, if people are interested and want to reach out to you, how can they find you at Triumphators?
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so on Facebook, we are living triumphantly 24/7, 247, living triumphantly 247. That's for Facebook. The website address is livingtriumphantly.my no, not Spotify, Shopify.com.
Say that one more time.
The website is livingtriumphantly.shopify.com. And then I'll give you the phone number. We do have our phone number is 1-888-24U, the alphabet U to try. 1-888, let me just spell it out. 1-888-248-2874. And I'm on TikTok. You can just put in Tonya Maxwell. You'll find me.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. So I went and I did drop that in the chat for any of those that are viewing. So I appreciate that. Thank you again. And again, guys, if you have not done so already, I appreciate everyone that's been here. I see that we have Catherine Miller Gardet is on as well. Thank you for showing up. Again, Betty Miller Henderson. We do have a few other folks that are visiting. They're watching from Talina Speaks and a few from I Am Talina. So on YouTube. So thank you for joining us also from the YouTube world. So as we, get ready to close out, please, if you have not done so already, please be sure to go over to Talina Speaks on Facebook. That's TE_, Lena Speaks on Facebook. Please like, share, comment, and even on while you're on here now, hit the hearts and the thumbs up. Let's get that algorithm going. We are still building the show. So if you haven't, also please invite 4 other people next week to watch as well. That would be great. Next week, we're going to be talking about I believe we're going to be talking about self-care boundaries next week. Also, if you have liked, shared, or comment, or have not, do that. But also, if anything resonated with you from this week, last week, weeks prior, just go on to the page also and just drop 1 or 2 things that just really touched you or resonated with you. That would be great. I'd love that feedback. And if you happen to know anyone that is a business owner, entrepreneur, or aspiring to be, please also invite them to like my page. I'm going to be holding another masterclass, not next week, in the next 2 weeks. So I'd love to be able to connect with them and have an invitation sent out to them to participate in the masterclass. It is going to be a free masterclass. It's a business basics masterclass where we're going to be discussing again just a walkthrough of how to move from a business operator to the actual owner that you were born to be of your corporation. So anyway, we'll talk about 5 strategies of how we're going to do that. So again, I appreciate you all. So that's going to wrap up another wonderful episode of Fearless Fridays. Thank you again, Miss Tonya Maxwell, for being here with us. Again, Fearless Fridays is where we empower you to embrace your fear, ignite your potential, and fearlessly thrive in life and in business. Thank you again, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.